Hey there, welcome to our channel where we bring you the best in family entertainment. Today's video is called Sheriff Labardon. Police take care of baby alien. It's an 8,000 word long cartoon. Script on a cartoon character that is sure to keep you entertained. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi, today on this channel we are going to read a story about a little boy named Lucas who loved watching the police in all their vehicles. He would watch them drive by in their police cars or fly by in their helicopters. One day he even saw them take off in a jet. Lucas had so many questions for his parents about the police. Why did they have to be strong? What did they eat for breakfast? And what kind of training did they have to go through? His parents could not answer all of these questions, but they knew just who could. Lucas's mom and dad decided to take him to see Sheriff Labardon, the kindest and most famous sheriff in town. The sheriff was known for his big heart and dedication to helping others. He had a special talent for making everyone feel welcome. When Lucas met the sheriff, he immediately took a liking to him. The sheriff was everything Lucas had imagined a police officer to be. The sheriff welcomed Lucas and his parents into his office. It was decorated with pictures of him and his friends on missions and awards he had received for his bravery. Lucas was awestruck. As soon as the door closed behind them, he started bombarding the sheriff with questions. The sheriff patiently answered each one. He told Lucas about the police academy, the rigorous training, the physical and mental challenges they faced, and even let him try on his badge. But Lucas had one more question. He wanted to know what the sheriff ate for breakfast. The sheriff laughed and said, "That's a good one. I usually have eggs, bacon, and coffee." Lucas's eyes widened. He couldn't believe that a police officer could eat such simple food. "Do you think a police officer could be a vegetarian?" he asked. The sheriff thought for a moment. "Of course," he said finally. "Being a police officer has nothing to do with what you eat." After the meeting, Lucas went home and told his parents everything he had learned. His mom hugged him and said, "You know, Lucas, being a police officer is more than just a job. It's a way of life. They are the people who keep us safe and protect our communities." Lucas nodded, understanding what his mother meant. From that day on, he looked at the police with even more admiration. However, something strange was happening in town. Cars were being stolen, mailboxes were being knocked over, and trees were being uprooted. The townspeople were confused and scared. No one knew what to do. That's when Sheriff Labardon and his team stepped in. They worked tirelessly to find out who was responsible for the chaos. One day, while investigating a case, they found some unusual footprints. They were not human footprints, but something else, something from another world. Suddenly, it all made sense. A UFO had been spotted hovering around town, and these footprints must have come from an alien. Sheriff Labardon and his team were shocked. They had never dealt with anything like this before, but they knew they had to do something. They gathered all the townspeople in the town square and announced that they needed help. Everyone was scared, but they knew they had to do something. Together, they came up with a plan. The townspeople would stay inside their homes, and the sheriff and his team would search for the alien. As night fell, Sheriff Labardon and his team went out into the dark streets. They were searching everywhere for any sign of the alien. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash and they all turned towards the sound. There, in the middle of the street, was a small spaceship. It was no bigger than a car and was surrounded by flashing lights. The sheriff and his team cautiously approached the ship. They didn't know what to expect. As they got closer, they saw a small figure emerge from the ship. It was an alien, just like they had suspected. But it wasn't a scary monster like in the movies. It was a small, cute creature with big eyes and a tiny mouth. The alien looked at the sheriff and his team and started crying. It was lost and scared. At that moment, the sheriff felt a surge of sympathy for the creature. He knew he couldn't just leave it alone. He had to help. So he walked up to the alien and said in a kind voice, "Don't worry, little guy, we're here to help." The alien looked up at the sheriff and stopped crying. It was too scared to speak. The sheriff and his team carefully led the alien back to the station. They wanted to make sure it was okay. As they walked, the sheriff kept talking to the alien in a soothing voice. He wanted to put it at ease. At the station, they gave the alien water and some food. They didn't know what kind of food it ate, so they just gave it some fruit. The alien hesitantly took the fruit and ate it. It was so hungry that it finished the whole basket in no time. The sheriff and his team were amazed. They had never seen anything like this before. They couldn't understand how an alien could eat so much fruit. but they were happy to see that it was enjoying its food. The sheriff's wife, Deputy May, had an idea. She went to the store and bought some baby food. The alien drank it without hesitation. It was clear that it was very hungry. The sheriff and his team were now convinced that this was no ordinary alien. It was a baby alien who had somehow gotten lost. They had to do something to help it. The sheriff's daughter, Lulu, was visiting for the weekend. She was a bright and curious girl who loved animals. When she heard about the baby alien, she wanted to meet it. The sheriff brought the alien to Lulu and she was immediately fascinated. She had never seen anything like it before. She spent hours playing with the alien and trying to make it feel comfortable. The alien seemed to like Lulu. It was drawn to her kindness and warmth. Lulu and her father spent hours trying to figure out what to do with the alien. They didn't want to send it back to its planet because it was too dangerous. They also couldn't keep it in the station because it was too much work. Just then, an idea struck Lulu. She turned to her father and said, "Why don't we take care of it like a baby?" The sheriff thought for a moment. "That's a great idea," he said. "We can take turns looking after it until we figure out what to do with it." And that's exactly what they did. The sheriff and his team took turns looking after the baby alien. They fed it, changed its diaper, and played with it. It was a lot of work, but they were happy to do it. They had never experienced anything like this before, but they were determined to make it work. One day, while taking care of the baby alien, the sheriff and his team noticed something strange. It was growing at an alarming rate. It was no longer a small, cute creature. It was now a teenager. They were shocked and scared. They didn't know what to do. The baby alien looked at the sheriff and his team and started crying. It was scared and confused. The sheriff felt a surge of sympathy for the alien. He knew he couldn't just leave it alone. He had to help. So he walked up to the alien and said in a kind voice, "Don't worry, kiddo, we're here to help." The sheriff and his team took the alien to the doctor to get checked out. They didn't know what to expect, but they were prepared for anything. The doctor was shocked when he saw the alien. He had never seen anything like it before. But he was a professional and he knew he had to do his job. The doctor examined the alien and found that it was perfectly healthy. He couldn't believe how fast it had grown, but he was happy to see that it was doing well. The doctor gave the alien a clean bill of health and the sheriff and his team were relieved. They had done everything they could to help it. But now they had to figure out what to do with it. They couldn't keep it in the station and sending it back to its planet was too dangerous. Just then, an idea struck the sheriff. He remembered that Lulu had taken a liking to the alien. Maybe she could take care of it. The sheriff talked to Lulu and she was thrilled. She loved the alien and she didn't mind taking care of it. She took the alien home and her parents helped her take care of it. The alien was happy to be in a home environment and it quickly settled in. Lulu and her alien became best friends. They played together, explored the woods, and shared secrets. The alien was grateful to Lulu for taking care of it and she was happy to have a friend who was different from everyone else. The sheriff and his team continued to look for a solution to the alien problem. They contacted experts, but no one could help them. It was too unusual. They had to figure it out on their own. One day, the sheriff and his team had a breakthrough. They realized that the baby alien didn't belong in their world. It needed to go home. But how could they do that safely? They couldn't just send it back in a spaceship. It was too dangerous. The sheriff and his team worked tirelessly to find a solution. They brainstormed ideas, but nothing seemed to work. Just when they were about to give up, Lulu came up with an idea. She ran into her father's office and said, "Dad, I think I know how to help." The sheriff was surprised. He listened to Lulu's idea and his eyes lit up. "That's perfect," he said. "That'll work." Lulu and her father went to the alien expert and explained their idea. The expert was impressed. "That's brilliant," he said. "It's the only way we can do it." The sheriff and his team worked quickly to implement Lulu's idea. They built a device that would allow them to communicate with the alien. They then contacted the alien's planet and explained their situation. To their surprise, the aliens were very friendly. They agreed to help bring the baby alien home. On the day the baby alien was to be returned, the whole town turned out to say goodbye. Everyone had become fond of the alien and they were sad to see it go. The sheriff and his team waved as the alien left in its spaceship. They were happy to have helped it, but they would never forget the adventure they had shared. From that day on, Sheriff Labardon and his team continued to protect their town. They had faced many challenges, but they were always ready for anything. They knew that no matter what happened, they could count on each other and the support of their community. The end.